Day 7 of making our game Orgone. On day 6 I added a state machine to handle the logic of Skelly's movement. So on day 7 I decided to focus entirely on how it actually feels to play Skelly, to move him around the game. Movement in a game can make or break the immersion, so it's really important to me to make it feel fun and responsive. I recently learned that for Mario 64, the developers spent a lot of time tweaking Mario's movement before working on any other aspect of the game. It was just an empty 3D space in Mario, and they just kept tweaking his movement until it felt really fun to play him. That's exactly why it's so much fun to just jump around the outside of the castle without even entering any levels. I want our game to have the exact same feeling, that you can just run around the environment and already be having a blast. So the first thing that I started with then was acceleration and deceleration. It's super jarring to have the character snap into full velocity as soon as you move the character. So acceleration helps make it feel a lot smoother. This worked really well to make it feel better, but the first thing I noticed was that after Skelly landed from a jump, he would be at 0 velocity, which felt really weird. I tried fixing this but ended up creating another bug. For some reason, Skelly would just slide across the ground and not stop unless I pressed the jump button again. This obviously had to do with the states. It was kind of confusing and it took a lot of time to understand the state machine, but through trial and error and fixing all these bugs, it eventually became clear how to use states and how to switch to them to make effective and fun movement. It was also really hard to tell if the deceleration was actually working. You could totally see and feel that the acceleration was working. Even if it's not apparent in the video, you can definitely feel it when you play. But when you're decelerating, it felt like it just stopped. The acceleration seemed to take longer than it did to decelerate, and I still don't really know why. I'm gonna have to spend more time figuring out how to make the inertia of his movement feel better, but for now this already feels so much better than where I started. So in the end I did get it all to work. The way that I fixed the jumping situation was just to switch from the jumping state into the walking state if the player was still holding down a movement key when they landed on the ground. This way he doesn't switch automatically into idle, making the velocity 0. By the end of the day, the movement for Skelly felt so much better and the game was a lot more fun to play. I also made it so that Skelly wouldn't turn their body if they were in the air. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this feature or switch it back so that Skelly moves back and forth even when in the air, but I'm going to leave it for now. The only thing that I still have to work on is the inertia of when Skelly is turning. Sometimes it seems to work that he's sliding back and forth just a little bit, but then other times it just comes to a dead stop. And I think this is because sometimes the state machine registers that there's no more velocity and switches into idle state, and then sometimes it doesn't. It depends on how quickly the player switches from one direction to another. We are Studio Brya, working on Orgone. If you want to see more, follow our page.